Welcome back everyone to Showing Off. This is a series of 3 videos about Civilization 5 Gods and Kings. This particular video is devoted to the gameplay of Civilization 5. If you would like to know about the options menu, or if you would like to know about world setup and the various ways you can set up and run your world, there's a link over there that you can go click on and go see that. If you would like to know my thoughts and comments about this game compared to other Sid Meier Firaxis games, there's also a link over there to go check it out. Otherwise, if you'd like to see the gameplay, which I suspect is what many people like, then stick around and we'll take a look. So I'm going to start with a new game, and to do a new game, there's 2 options. You can either play now, which has current settings only, or you can set up your own game. And we'll click on Setup Game just so you can see what the screen looks like. I'm not really going to go into this very much. In fact, I'm not even going to change anything here, except maybe this guy. I might change Rome. You see, there's a lot of options here, so you want to pick this as first. And for information about what all these guys do, check out my options video. But actually, I know Rome fairly well. I've played it, I don't know, a couple times. So I'm just going to stick with that. So let's go ahead and see what this game is like. Now you click, it's going to go like blue.
Glory of Rome, will you make Rome once again center of the world? Civilization that will stand the test of time.
So, I'm not sure right now how that came out. We'll see in the final product. But whenever you start, somebody who sounds very familiar will read off to you this text, and it'll remind you of the bonuses you get. And you can mouse over and see the bonuses in the tooltip. So Rome gets bonuses for early game, that a better siege unit, sorry, and also a better swordsman. When you're ready, click begin. And the music changes, and here you are in the world. Now there's a couple things to notice about the world right away. I don't know for certain about Civ 4, I never played Civ 4, but the other Civs were all based on a Cartesian grid, or an isometric grid, and so was Alpha Centauri. It was based on isometric, basically means squares at an angle, and that's what this is based on. But it's not. This is based on hexes. What am I saying? This is based on hexes, which is different. It allows for fewer degrees of movement than isometric, but anyways, you can see immediately that we've started in a place, and it's actually fairly zoomed in. Look at how close that map is. But you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and there's actually rules about zoom, how that works, but you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. To click and drag the map, use the left mouse button. You'll notice that there's not a whole lot of up and down we can go at the moment, probably because we haven't discovered very much. Neither is there a whole lot of right and left. We exist on a very small world at the moment. You can also just move your mouse to the corners of the screen for that, and you can click anywhere on the map screen to move yourself around. Not there's a lot of place for us to go. When you're looking at an individual unit, like we are now, and you want to move that unit, you'll need to use the right mouse button, which is very strange. The right mouse button does not bring up any right-click menus. There are no right-click menus in this game, as far as I've seen. But the right mouse button, holding it down, will show you. You can see a blue outline, hopefully. I'll zoom in a bit more, you can see it. See that blue outline? That's the movement range. And if you hold it down, it shows you where you can move within 1 turn. That's what the 1 means. If I were to move it over here, it becomes yellow, and it says, oh, that's going to take 2 turns. And if I were to move it over here, it becomes gray and says 3, and up there is 4, and so on. If I don't want to move, or I want to cancel my movement, just bring it right back here, and that'll cancel the movement. You can zoom in this far, and you can see all the little dudes, which is, oh, look, all the little dudes. Or you can, of course, just zoom out so you only kind of see a more tactical view. But if you like, there is an alternative view to the map down here. Strategic and normal game view, F10. Doing this, you still get the same sort of bits. I mean, still have hexes, of course, because that's the way the engine is based. But all the graphical details are taken out, and you're left with only the important information. This is also much easier on your system. If you have a system like mine or older, use this just for your own benefit, because otherwise it gets really big and places don't load incorrectly. I'll show you a little bit about that later. You can zoom in and out here as well, but it's a little simpler. It's kind of like a Settlers of Catan game. Every tile has a picture showing you what it is. Now, let's explain a little bit more about this map before we go on, and about this screen in general. This is your home screen. Up here, you've got different info panel options where you can see different informations. Over here, we have additional information, which is just extra information about your civilization. We don't have any of these right now, but we'll come back into those when I show you my game that I've set up. Social policies, advisors, and diplomacy. Up here, there's the turn number, the year, the help menu, and the regular game menu, which you can also bring up by hitting escape. There we go. From here, you have access to the options menu, and this is all the settings about the game, as well as just your usual administration stuff. And you'll see it also brought me back into this look, which I don't mind for the moment. Your social policies. Oh, this is your advisor.
I have some information that may be of use.
Your advisors show up all the time. It's kind of annoying, but they show up all the time to say, hey, look, there's something here. Hey, look. Hey, 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 listen, listen. And if you don't want to hear it ever again, you can click this button and say thank you. So as you gain culture, you're going to gain points that you can use to buy these, and you can see there's tooltips that come up. That those tooltips tell you what it is. Each branch, I guess, contains a bonus, which you can see. I'll let you read that. And there's also a mastery bonus if you get everything in that tree, in that branch, whatever. And then, of course, you can buy these individual things. Every time you are able to adopt a social policy, you may either get a branch, or you may get a section of that branch, whatever. Some of them are mutually exclusive, so piety and rationalism are mutually exclusive, and it says that at the bottom there. And freedom, autocracy, and order are all mutually exclusive. So picking freedom, you can't pick either one of these. Picking rationalism, you can't pick piety. There, at the bottom, there's something about the Utopia project, which you'll see is a way to win the game. This tells you about when you can pick the next one, so it's kind of like tech, but it's more passive. Up here, we had advisors. They say we should found a city. And of course, diplomacy. We don't know anyone else, so that won't help us. This tells us what we need to do right now, and it can change from time to time. And then right over here is information about what our unit can do. So we probably want to found a city somewhere. We really only have this and this. If we want to move this guy, our warrior, maybe we want to let him explore something. Let's move over here and just see what's over there. Now he's out of moves, but he's able to see a mountain in the distance. We know there's some grassland over here. Now mountains don't really give us a whole lot, but founding on a river is not a bad option. So let's move up here and see if there's any... Oh look, there's grassland up here. Now you notice that there's a bit more forest. There's a bit more stuff on this side, but maybe you don't notice that. When I mouse over something, a couple things happen. First of all, right above this, watch right here, and watch right above it. See how that appears? That tells you information about what that tile is and what's on that tile. So this tile has spices, which is why it started me here, because it's got spices and cattle. And in fact, because of that, I might start over here instead of over here, even though there's grasslands. Forests are pretty good. When you're done with your turn, hit next turn. The problem is that next turn takes a while. It processes everybody individually, then all the city-states. I'm pretty sure it and the barbarians, I'm pretty sure it processes them individually too. So we're going to take a couple turns, and we're going to move our guy right over here. And it auto-cycles to your next unit. Which I want to know more about this. Oh look! Ruins! Let's go check these ruins out. We're going to have to wait for everybody to do their stuff first, and then slowly move over there. Ooh, bananas! And another source of spices? Man, we could be pretty rich with spices and stuff. Those guys are going to move on their own. If you happen to click next turn without those moving, they'll move on their own. No big deal. So we're going to move this warrior down here to get the ruins. Now when you encounter ruins, something happens. Watch. Ooh, we have advanced weapons found in the ruins. This little pop-up happens, and it could be a random event. It's like the data pod from Alpha Centauri. You could get a tech, you could get money, you can get equipment or units. In this case, our stuff has, aha, we are now spearmen. So we turn from warriors into spearmen. Also, you'll notice there's like actually a zoom level on the map down here, where our map has grown big enough to where we actually see different parts of the map at a time. You're also probably at this point be wondering what these little guys are about, these circles. These circles are your resource circle. They tell you what is in that square, what's in that tile. Also, you notice that if I left my mouse there long enough, a little button popped up and says, oh hey, look at here's the stuff. Of course, that little thing popping up is a little silly since it appears right over here, and since it's listed there. But maybe you don't like that, so we can have these little, there's a little button right here. You can change the resource icons on and off, you can change the yields on and off, and you can change the grid on and off. Now if the grid is off and you're in this mode, it looks kind of nice, but you know, I really like seeing the grid. That's just a thing for me. Also, you'll notice that this map has gotten bigger, this menu's gotten bigger in here. Show Fog of War, yes, no. So Fog of War, we've explored this, but we're not seeing it right now. It's up to you whether you want it or not. Resource icons are automatically listed in this spot because that's important, but you can still hide yields, and you can turn the grid on and off. There are other things like features, so you don't, maybe you don't care that that's forest or jungle. Actually, you can turn those on and off, and other stuff as well. So this is it's a really nice view, but let's go ahead and take the next turn, because this is about gameplay, not about options. So, our spearmen need stuff to do. Well, they need to be exploring. We're not paying for them to sit around, so we're going to have them explore. And this guy's going to take his 4th turn. He'll move right over here. And I think I'm going to have him move down 1 more as well, so that he can be on the coast. That'll give us more options later on. But it's good to know what's up here. So there's some hills up there. There's also a marsh up there. Alright. So let's move right down here. I don't know if it's the best spot or not, but we'll be closer to those bananas. Or bananas, if you like that. Notice it's taken us 5 turns, but over 1,000 years to move up there and back. Everyone else has already built their cities. When you're ready, you can use the hotkey B, or you can come over here and take a look. Found cities. We're going to build a city. Now, it is possible for bad stuff to happen to your settler before they found a city, but the game will hopefully reimburse you if that happens. If not, just start over. You haven't lost anything, really. You just feel a little embarrassed. And notice I said that this can show up with other things. When stuff happens, you'll see these little announcements show up on the sides. So let's move our guy first, because I'd rather... There we go, look at that. There's a nice marsh and some stone up there. Now, let's learn about cities. Mousing over the city screen will show a lot of stuff, but it only shows that stuff in the graphical mode. If you're looking at strategic mode, you'll see there's your city, and you can see your territory really nicely, but that information doesn't appear. So I'll leave it here for the moment, so that you can zoom in and see the city. It's really nicely done. Mousing over here tells you about any religions in your city. You can see the city's combat strength. There's the size, and how long it's going to take to grow. And over here is production.
The city screen provides a detailed view of your city's growth and production.
Blah, blah, blah. Thank you. Imagine that. Okay, so in here, this is a pretty big screen to take in all at once. Here's your boundary, right? You can get anything in that boundary. These purple outlines are where you're going to grow. And growth is handled in 2 ways. There's culture-based growth, which helps you claim new territory. So here it says 15 turns until border growth. 15 turns from now, we will get 1 of these 3, though we don't get to pick which one. It'll just give us 1 of them. However, population is handled from food. So hovering over this gives you a lot of information, and I will let you figure out a lot of it. Mostly it just tells you, it gives you a breakdown. So there's a summary. I'm getting +4 science per turn, and here's why. I'm getting +5 gold per turn, and here's why. And so on and so forth. I'm not getting any That's okay. And here's explains how they calculated growth rate. A lot of people do like to know that, but at the same time, it's presented in a convenient little format there, so that gets a plus. If you want to see your people, however, you have to click on Citizen Management. I don't know why you wouldn't, but maybe you just don't like it because you're a casual gamer or because it clutters up the screen and it makes this menu big. You know, they're both fine. You can have your governor do stuff for you. If you want to avoid growth, there's a little button here to do that, which would be a little weird if you said avoid growth and also have a food focus. But maybe you want a science focus, culture, etc. Right now, it doesn't. Like, this is most important in late game. There we go. Food versus production. Right now we want a food focus because, yeah. And we can also buy tiles. I said we could grow via, just culture and stuff. You can also buy tiles. So there's a gold cost for each tile. Now careful because the number appears a little weirdly. This is for this tile, so it appears right above. And we don't have enough anything there, so whatever. So if we want, we can get out of that by clicking here. Down here we can buy stuff. Thank you, lady. We can buy stuff for gold and later for faith. We don't have any money right now. Or we can produce things. So we can produce workers, a scout, a warrior, or build a monument, which will increase culture. Increasing culture does two things. It increases the border growth and also increases social policies, which you can see up there, and I explained once already. Sort of, kind of. We're going to build a scout just so we can do a little bit more exploration. Now, you can only build one thing at a time. If you want a queue, like you have in Alpha Centauri, you have to click this box. Now we can add to the queue. So we've built a scout. Next, I want us to build a worker. And then next, I want us to build a monument. And once I've done that, you'll see that these advisor symbols are like, oh, you should build this, you should build that, blah, 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 blah. Go away, advisors. They're not bad to listen to, but you can change the order and get rid of them as well, which is good. So having the queue is nice. You may or may not like it. We've taken care of the production thing, so production's over off the side. If you don't like these things cluttering up your screen, you can right-click to make them go away. It's very strange. Or you can click on the icon, or click right here, and it'll take you to that screen. Let's choose research. Go away. Those things, they pop up all the time. You can disable them in the options menu, and you can disable them like I did by clicking that and then saying thank you. If you're new to the game, leave them on. They're useful. So here, we can look at the individual text that we have available. It tells us how many turns. The tooltip gives us a basic overview about it. We can look at some detailed information about what it gives us. So pottery lets us build a shrine for faith, and also a granary. So we could get extra stuff from bananas, for example. Animal husbandry would let us use those cattle a little bit better. Also get pastures on cows and sheep. Archery, which also gives us a temple of Artemis. And mining allows us to mine stuff and allows us to build mines. Our advisors are advising different things. So, yeah.
Excuse me.
Here. No. So here's the tech tree. Scroll wheel goes up and down. This tells you what techs are involved in each thing. So as soon as you research mathematics, you'll be into the classical era. And as soon as you research theology, you'll be in medieval era. And once you've researched acoustics or printing press, you'll be in Renaissance, and so on. You can see all the way up. It's actually fairly nicely laid out compared to the Alpha Centauri tech tree, which is much bigger. There we go. If we go for that, it's going to take a lot of time to get there. Anyways, there's the tech tree if you're interested in that sort of thing. It's really nice, really handy if you're like really, you want to know, you really need to get currency, so how do I research that really quickly? Or civil service. Well, you can see it takes a couple things that lead up to it. Anyways, we're going to go with pottery, and then we're going to go to the next turn. And turns will progress this way, so on and so forth, and you're going to slowly build your cities up and build them up and everything. But some of the features of this game really can't be seen this early on. Discovered some more ruins, which we can either click on to center the map, or right-click to get rid of. Now that we're researching something, research progress is shown up here. There is one other thing I want to talk about. Oh, and you can change info panel again. So what do you want to see? I like seeing this, so I'm not going to change it. There's one other thing I should mention before we should move on to a more advanced game and show you what appears late stage, and that's this information up top. Be careful you don't scroll the map up. This information up here, right here, is science. This tells you about your science per turn, and it gives you a breakdown of it. Here is gold per turn, the current gold, there's gold per turn, as well as a breakdown of income and expenses, and what you can do with it. Gold is not as useful as it was in Alpha Centauri, mostly because it's hard to earn gold early game, and its uses it has the same uses, I guess, but things are more expensive. Happiness. Happiness is very important for your for your civilization. As long as your civilization is happy, everything's good. If your civilization becomes unhappy, your cities don't grow as well. And if they become very unhappy, you have drone riots, basically. This gives you a breakdown of all the happiness so that you know if you are becoming unhappy, you can see what you need to do to change it. Happiness is generated from having luxury resources, it's from having buildings that generate happiness, and from social policies that generate happiness. Unhappiness is generated from too many cities, from too many people, from specialists, that is, people who aren't working in the fields for some reason, as well as occupying cities and any other buildings or stuff that gets in the way. Losing probably generates as well. Golden Age progress. You get your happiness per turn gets added up. When you get that number of Golden Age points, you get a Golden Age, and in your Golden Age you'll see it, you get extra stuff, and it lasts for a little while. It lasts for 10 turns, I think. Next policy comes up in 20 turns. I mentioned social policies. Every time I mention culture, which is also used for building tiles and getting culture from there are not exclusive, and the points are shared. So I'm getting one thing per turn. In 20 turns, I'll get a policy. And you can see a breakdown of where your culture is coming from. If you want to win culturally, don't have too many cities. As you see there, extra cities increase culture costs. And finally, we have faith. Right now, apparently, if we can get 10 faith, we can get a religious pantheon, which, yeah, if we could, research pottery and then build a shrine, and etc., that would help out. We could do that in 9 plus probably another 9 turns to build the shrine. Let's see, cost 40, production 4 per turn, so it'd actually be 10 turns. But we'll have grown by then, so probably 8 turns or something. Anyways, that's the basics up here. And this is what it looks like early game. But let's do one more turn here, and then let's show you what it looks like in a later game. So I've got a mid-stage game. Oh, hey, we got
something that may be
a
helpful.
bunch of stuff. Now this is, I'll talk about this later. A bunch of stuff appears. Yeah, we discovered Mount Sinai. If we work it, we get faith. Discovering it has given us extra happiness, and she wants to tell us about it, and she wants to show us on the map. There it is. So, oh, we also have ancient ruins. Lots of ancient ruins. Wow. Alright then. So there you go. That's beginning game. Let's take a look at something that is more late game. So I'm going to load without, I'm not going to save. You see, all I've done is the Romans, but I've had several save games. You can save to the Steam Cloud if you got this game through Steam, which I did. I got this through a Steam sale, and there's also, you can look at the autosaves. Anyways, let's load this game. It's going to take a little. Alright, here we go. You can see it in the background there. Continue your journey. Okay. Now I don't know if you noticed that, but it was loading in. So this is what it looks like in late game. There is a lot more information on the map, and you saw there's a little bit of graphics that I had to load. This is pretty big. First of all, there's other civilizations. Here's Denmark, and all the, see, you can tell, all their units are identified. Since you can't see them, every unit has a little guy above his head. Ignore that. Your people have the diamondy color or triangle shape, whatever that shape is. Triangle. Well, your non-combats have this triangle, and combat units have this circle. Your people are identified by your color. The other people have their own color. A little annoying because Ethiopia up here is the same color as the barbarians. But go figure. looks like the Danes have captured a city up here. Now, a couple of new things in addition to just being super big. Like, let's zoom in really close. You'll see that we have roads. They're hard to see. They are hard to see. We have stuff on rivers. We have lots of improvements. Workers right here can build improvements on various tiles so that they become better. So I've, for example, built a farm right here, and this tile has improved. It's got green stuff on it, extra green stuff. And over here I've built a plantation. Down here we have the Celts, which you can see there's a lot of these faith symbols in there, which is a little interesting. Haha! And you also see there is some religion stuff. So I mentioned religion at the end of that last civilization. In this one you can see that religion is a big deal. In this whole city of Cardiff there are 8 followers of Christianity, which is the cross symbol, and 1 follower of Zoroastrianism, which is the religion I founded. Because I founded it, I get some benefits if people follow it. So I'm getting benefits for this city and this city following it. This city is trying to, but you can see there's a lot of pressure from Christianity, and it's a really mixed system. Now, I mentioned about the graphical fidelity of this game, and watch when we... Do you see that? If we click far away where it hasn't loaded, it takes a bit to load up. This is the Mongolians, by the way. So let's click next turn and see. When you've discovered civilizations, it'll tell you that it's taking turns for them. You can see that stuff is happening with the Celts over here. And there's also, you might have noticed, that this is a little bit new up here, and this whole section up here is bigger. I have resources up here. And
It is a newspaper's duty to print the news and raise hell.
there we go, we discovered something. We researched the printing press, which lets us build the theater, makes more happiness. And also lets us build the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which gets more great people, which is something I probably want. Alright, so we've got, early on in the game you get a tech, I forget which one it is, that lets land units move on to the water, which is why this is a horseman. He's on a couple boats. You can't really see it because, you know, there's things in the way, but anyways, he's there. I'm having him circumnavigate the globe because I want to get back over here. I want to know what's over here. You can see a little bit. We're getting there. I can't, for some reason, scroll all the way around. We're getting there, though. See, look at the graphics. Annoys me so much that I've been playing in this version of the map more, just because, look at that. I can see the movement radius much more clearly. So I'm going to move up here. It's a very nice sight radius. Any space that is within, looks like about 2 or 3 hexes of land has resources on it, and anything out there is just open ocean. So let's look at all these notifications that appeared over here. A deal where we provided open borders to Bluetooth with the Danes has ended. That's fine by me, and I don't really care to renew it. It was a bad deal. Hey, our research agreement, though, was completed. That's why it was not a bad deal. That was a bad deal, but I did it anyways. It was because of the research agreement. So I got extra science for that. I don't know if it appeared there or not. I'm not researching anything at the moment, so that's why nothing's up here. So we'll right-click there to get rid of it. Your influence with Wittenberg has nearly decayed to the point where you're no longer friends. Okay, so I mentioned city-states, and this is something... Here's how city-states work. When you first discover a city-state, they give you a little bit of money. And after that, you can go talk to them at any point in time. And you'll see a status, whether you are neutral, friends, allies, or enemies. You'll see any quests that they've done for you, any of their current allies, what their trait is. So this is a religious city. At the moment, it is giving me faith, because we are friends. You can see its personality, and any resources it has. Now, the most important thing about this is influence. To be friends or allies, you need to have influence with that city, and to get influence, you either have to complete quests or give them money. Like, that's it. In fact, that's probably the biggest use of money in the game, is influence. The best use of money that I've seen is upgrading old units when you get new technology, but the most common unit measure use of money is influence, and I don't like it. Not at all. I mean, yeah, I'm getting a lot of gold, but it took a long time to get... Okay, 221 turns. It took 221 turns to get to the point where I'm getting this much gold. So... You can think about it. You can also give them units, but that's a really dumb thing to do, because you lose the unit. How are they going to use it effectively? You don't, so it doesn't help you win or anything. It gives you a small amount of influence, and it only worked a couple times. And supposedly you can do this, but I've never seen that happen. So the problem with influence, is this stupid gold system. Influence decays over time, which if you mouse over you can see their whole thing. I currently have 32 influence with them, and because it's more than 30, we're friends. But it's decaying, which is why this thing is warning me about it. Oh, another city-state, Hanoi, which we were longtime allies with, we're no longer friends. Why? Just because I didn't write them a check. Which is really annoying. Very obnoxious. But more about that later. Next turn, I think I shall give them some money. And I will get a lot of influence for them. Elizabeth, from the English, way down here, entered Renaissance, and let's research something. We are going to research... fertilizer? We get extra growth. Massive boost to growth because all my farms become more effective. Metallurgy, you'll see... No, we get... Lancers. Arsenals. The Kremlin. Economics gives us... windmills. Also, more gold from various places. Architecture. Leads to the scientific theory. Ooh, good. It gives us some wonders. We can get extra culture. We can get extra great scientists and science things. Or an instant golden age. I think that's a little silly. And navigation, which gives us some extra things. I kind of like fertilizer, and I kind of like architecture. Let's go with architecture. Alright, a unit needs orders. This guy here apparently needs an extra thing. There we go. Alright. So as you can see, it's a bit bigger. There's a lot more to worry about. And every so often, people come up and either offer you a deal or complain about something. Now, the diplomacy in this game is really good. Take a look at this. You can offer all sorts of different things. So I could offer him all the stuff in the world, right? Just by clicking on it. Or I could, like for here, I could change the amount, or I could get rid of it. So I could demand things from him, like I want marble, and I want a defensive pact, and I want you to give me a city. Obviously, yeah, not happening. So there we go. If I were to modify the deal, for example, by demanding marble, I can say what would make this work. And sometimes they'll consider it, not always. Like, there was a time someone was declaring war on a friend, and I said, could you please stop? And he said, no, nothing would work. Oftentimes, they want a lot for it. So if I get marble, they want everything, which I still don't know where I'm getting troubles from, but it's kind of annoying. So I don't really want that deal. Alternatively, I could offer something, and I can say, you know, what would you give me for this? And he'll suggest, I'll give you this for that. But we'll just go with this. If you don't like the deal, you can always say back. So he'll take it. It's tricky, especially if a civilization like the Celts is not very friendly with you. And now the Celts and the Danes are at war. And Quebec City wants investors, meaning that they'll give you more influence for more gold. This guy's going to continue his quest. Oh, the map has gotten big enough that I'm fine. Oh, no, that... Silly me. I'm looking at it differently. It's a square instead of a trapezoid. Okay, so we have production up here. Good to know, but... Also, Hanoi, which I said... See, they're still in the middle of this last turn of gold gifts being more effective, and we have a lot of gold, so we're going to give them this one and get extra gold or extra stuff for them. And we went from being neutral up to allies. Yay! We'll get a new... They're militaristic, so we'll get extra stuff every so often. Cool. Worker. Workers can build improvements on tiles, like I mentioned earlier. So this guy's built a mine right here, but this has nothing on it. So we're going to move him here, and we could build either a farm or a trading post. We could also build a road. This is just building a single road. Oh, it's not here because there's already a road. I could remove a road. I could build a fort, or I could build a route, which gives you this little green hex, and you click on somewhere, and it'll start building a road there. Left click, not right click. Right click, we'll cancel it. Anyways, let's build a farm. And this guy is going to take some moves, and I think he has one more move. Yes. There we go. So now I have no more units to move. This goes away, and I can handle everything over here. So one of my cities, Kumei, is finished with something, and it's ready to go. We've finished a heroic epic, which is a wonder of the world. So this gives us... Oh, it gives us a promotion for any unit that's trained in this city. Cool. We can increase that by adding the armory, which is not a bad idea. You can see that there's a lot of options to build stuff here, and they have a lot of turns. Wonders of the world are like secret projects in Alpha Centauri. They give you extra things, and you can only have one. But there's a lot more than there were in Alpha Centauri, and they happen a lot quicker. On the other hand, especially in early game, things and units are really hard to build. Early game is just tough. Later in the game, like, I have a lot of production now, so it's pretty good. And my borders are pretty big. So if I come here and I go into citizen management, wow, that's a lot. But you'll see that there are a lot of options available, and I have a lot of people working in them and getting a lot of materials from it. If I want to take something out of that, I can put them over here, and they give me specialist things. Like putting someone here gives me 3 science points. Anyways, he needs production, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm a little worried about spies stealing my tech, so I'm going to build a constabulary. It reduces spy stealing rate by 25, and I'm not using the Q here because it's not super necessary. So one more turn for this. I wish I could show you combat, but I don't really want to go to war with anyone right now. Combat in this mode is pretty straightforward. Oh no, there's a missionary. Elizabeth has completed Angkor Wat, and Hanoi no longer needs investors, and I can buy something with faith, which is cool. So yeah, that's great. Let's move this guy. Soon he'll get here. Oh, and aha. We're going to build... This is a great person. Great people have a couple options available to them. They come once in a while. In fact, if you click here, you'll see that they come once this is filled up. So Rome is halfway to getting a great engineer. And you'll see that he's getting like +1 per turn. So that's going to take a while. They can do 2 things. They can either build a super improvement, or they can do some smaller temporary thing inside a city. So this guy can either build a manufactory, or if he's inside a city, he can hurry along a project. This worker down here is, I've expanded a little bit, so I'm going to, oh, you can see the roads a little bit easier there. Oh, it went away. There's something over here. Oh, a city-state. Leventa. Hey, since we're the first empire they've met, we get some extra faith and some extra gold. That's pretty cool. And they're religious, so if we're friendly with them, we get more faith. But they're hostile, meaning that it's actually hard to be friends with them. So I'm not even going to bother. I have my opinions about this system, but yay. One of my cities up north is ready for a construction project, which is very good to see. I think that we should probably build an aqueduct, because it's pretty cheap. And we have enough faith to buy something, so faith is listed up here. I was pretty late getting into the faith game, which is why if we go back here, which is why my religion, Zoroastrianism, is only in 2 cities. It's not even in all of mine. Whereas Buddhism is spread quite far, and down here, Christianity is spread quite far as well. Gosh, the frame rate, pretty bad. So here's Rome. We're going to purchase a missionary, because we have 300 faith, we can do that thing. We're currently building Himeji Castle. It'll give us some nice stuff. And, stuff is happening up here. People are fighting. Oh, look at that. You can see their little fighting animation, which is pretty cool. You don't get to see that in the strategic mode. In this mode, stuff happens, and then you see numbers. I'm assuming stuff is happening up here. There you go. So I'd like to say it's faster. I don't know if it is or not. Mongolia is doing something. Celts are doing something. They have a lot of units. They're moving around. I don't know, but someday I think we're going to go to war, and it's going to be big. There's a barbarian encampment. No longer friends with Wittenberg. Blah, blah, blah. Leventa. They want me to take care of stuff. I probably won't. They don't like Leventa. Missionary! Last thing I wanted to show is about this faith stuff. And so this missionary can go into a city. And in the city, he can do stuff. Now there's pretty much only one thing he can do. He can spread religion. That's it. To do that, he shoots 1,000, I don't know, somethings, and he can do it twice. Now, he can go into rival territory. So I can, unlike a regular unit, I can move this missionary into here and start preaching to the city of Cardiff, which is down there. Really, they should be worshipping someone else, but anyways. However, you look at that. Loses 20% of original religious strength for each turn they end on such a tile, and unit is eliminated when it goes down to 0. So he has 4 turns in there, and he's going to lose strength, so he's not going to be very effective. So preaching to Cardiff, not the most effective thing in the world, which is why I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to come back here, and I've got Kumai under control, and Rome is under control, although it should be exerting more pressure than it is. To look into that. And I'm going to move him over here to Antium, which will take less than a turn, because I have very good roads, good with Rome. And I'm going to take a look here. I have 7 followers of Zoroastrianism, and now I'm going to spread this. It tells you that after this, the majority religion here will be Zoroastrianism. Holy stuff, and construct one mill, and let's, I don't know, move you. Are we done? Yes, we're done. Let's go back over here. Antium now has the Zoroastrianism symbol. It has 8 followers, and is applying a bit more pressure, and Christianity is not applying as much pressure. So because of that, you'll see over here that Rome's pressure has increased, and supplying more as well, and up here so is Kumai's, because they're all pretty close together, so they can all apply pressure on other cities together. Mostly what they're doing is being defensive, but down here, I'm applying just a little bit of pressure to Truro, and a little bit of pressure to Cardiff, so I could, if I wanted to, come down here and spread religion to Cardiff and just get a little bit extra. I might do that. I might come down to Neapolis and try to convert them, because they're my own city, and it'd be a little bit more effective. But that's for another time. I think that ends our this video on the basic gameplay of stuff. I think it's probably been a bit more explanatory than actual, oh, we're playing the game, yeah. But you saw early civilization and late civilization. I understand this has been a long video, so if you stopped watching about 10 minutes in, you're not here anymore to hear me say, sorry for it taking so long. We'll see what we can do. But if you were interested about a lot of the options, setup, and what the different civilizations were, you should go check out my video on options and setup. And if you're interested in hearing my personal thoughts on the game, which I almost mentioned a couple times here, you should check out my video on personal options. But either way, thanks for watching, and don't catch on fire.